Okay, my name is Joseph. I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is May 3rd, 2023. Shepard of the Hills is my home group. I feel like this is an opportunity that I never thought that I would have to be able to come up here and share my story. And this group of people I've come to love as friends and family. So I'll start off with thanking Nicole and my girl over here, because I'm going blank for a moment. I'm just kidding. Lindsay. For making the tacos and stuff for everybody tonight. Thank you. And to my sponsor, Gerard. He's played a huge role in my recovery. And I thank God that, he led me to that man and to ask him to be my sponsor when I first started out here. So I will start off with my first memory. I'm from Maryland, the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Born in 1981. My first memory was of a heaven. First thing I ever remember. It was like I was shown paradise. And I'm walking through, I guess the best that a human pair of eyes could see and understand it. Which was like tropical island with the big green leaves, and parting through the leaves, and we come to this throne, and it's sitting there, and I hear this voice that says, "I have a place for you." Now, and I remember knowing that this is heaven. And then, so, following that, I was terrorized by a reoccurring nightmare. Every time I fell asleep, it didn't matter. And it lasted for I don't know how long. Every time I fell asleep, I'd be sitting on my mother's lap, and I can't really make out the other people in the room. And I was looking towards the front door of this house that actually just depended where I fell asleep at. But most of the time, I'd be sitting in my mother's lap looking at this door, and there's a stairwell that led down from the upstairs towards the front door. And this thing would be floating down the stairs, and I would be full of terror just seeing it. It'd be floating down the stairs. There was no figure. It was like a person made out of candle wax, like somebody had lit the candle and they had melted down. And as soon as this thing would hit the bottom of the stairs, it would flash towards me, and I'd be in a fight for my life. Now, mind you, this happened every time I fell asleep. And something inside of me said, "This is Satan." And I point that out because at that point in my life, I was so young, I didn't have anybody taking me to church or, and all that, and feeding all this stuff in my head. These are my first memories. Okay? So from that, it's like fear and anxiety are instilled into my life. Okay? After that happened, my next memory would probably be my mom telling me on 4th of July, of all times, that my father had been shot and killed outside of a bar. Now, they were separated, so I didn't really get to know him, but I remember how much that hurt, regardless. Looking back, of course, I go, he was an alcoholic too, and a womanizer, and that caught up with him. And a bar, steps outside of the bar one night, and whatever woman he was talking to was either with somebody or married to somebody else, and they pulled a gun on him in the parking lot, shot him and killed him there, and then turned the gun on himself and shot themselves. So then it's almost like depression gets instilled into my life, So the father figure was never really there growing up. If he was there, it was the men that my mother liked to pick that weren't necessarily the best father figures. Okay? Either they were using drugs together, partying, all that stuff. My mom, she was using drugs, and we lived in some not so pleasant households. So these are the men that are raising me. Okay? Now, through that process, and Mom, she's, bless her heart, she's hooked on drugs and she's strung out, and we're living, we live in some, not like I said, some trailer parks on the Eastern Shore. And I can remember from my, as young as I can remember, I could leave the trailer or I could leave the house, depending, and walk around town and come back home whenever I wanted to. I was free to go and come as I wanted. The only time I was home was whenever I needed to eat, really, or sleep. All right, Mom, it's time to eat. Where's them hot dogs? Where's that macaroni and cheese? Grilled cheese sandwich? Those are the only 3 things I actually remember ever eating over and over and over again. But because of that lifestyle, at a really young age, I became a victim of a child predator. And I couldn't tell you how long it lasted, but I can tell you it seemed like it lasted a long time. Okay? And so we finally moved. It lasted until we moved away to a new house. And I remember one day we get this phone call, and my mom's like, "Oh, yeah, he's here. This guy's calling. He wants me to come over and spend the night with his kids." Okay? Weird? Yes. Where the kids would have been asking, all that stuff. And I remember taking a playing card out of a drawer because I was too afraid to talk about it. Writing it down on the back of a card and handing it to her. So the process begins in the court systems. Okay? This gentleman's going to court. We're going to court. I'm forced to sit in front of people that I've never met before in my life on the stand and share my story of things that have happened to me, to strangers, reliving it, sharing these things. Well, long story short, because of something my lawyer did in the judicial system, the case ends up getting thrown out. Okay, so from that point, I remember thinking my whole outlook on authority in my life was a joke. And I didn't have any respect for it. It was, this is a joke. I was looking for help, and it didn't come. So after that, I was ready to roll. Okay, I'm going to just do what I want to do. Nobody's going to stop me. And so I get this bicycle. I remember this bicycle. Boy, as soon as I got my bicycle, and I rode my bike over to my cousin's house. And he's got this whole box of cassette tapes sitting there by the front door of the house. And I go, "What you got there?" And he was, "You can pick any one you want and you can have it." And I just reached in the box and I pulled one out. Ozzy Osbourne, "No More Tears." Because I had a Walkman. Now I got Ozzy Osbourne, a Walkman, and my bicycle. And I'm free riding all over the world. Yeehaw. Remember, I don't have to be home. Okay? I don't have to be home till, usually till I'm ready to come home. So as far as I could pedal any single day, people's houses and property were in risk of vandalism. Because, like I said, I wasn't concerned about the police. I thought it was a joke. I didn't have people, when I went home, saying, "You need to be home. You don't need to be doing that. You need to be doing this," so on and so forth. I mean, it was crazy. We were living in some dirty times. We were poor. I'd get head lice. We had to shave my head back when I was a kid, multiple times, and then I would go to school. So another thing I have to tell you real quick. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, for some reason I got this idea to pull the 4 front top teeth out of my mouth with pliers. And they came out. See these teeth I got now? They came in. So this 6'4" frame, these teeth popped onto a little 50-pound soaking wet boy, skinny as a rail, shaved head, going to school. Right? And so, yeah, kids are mean. They made my life a living hell in there. And I bet you their parents were probably looking at me going, "This poor little Ethiopian kid. I mean, look at him. He's got teeth big enough to eat whatever he wants, but he's still skinny as a rail." It was, so insecurity. Okay, so then some insecurities in my life start coming into play. Now I'm insecure. Now I don't feel like that I have anybody, really to protect me. The only saving grace that I feel like I had through this whole period would be my grandparents. They were the rock. They were my spiritual parents. They were the ones that actually made sure I was eating right. They were the ones taking me to church. They were the ones that, made sure I had clothes. My grandmother, my grandfather, he's passed, bless his heart, 2018. My grandmother, she's my sidekick. I'll travel all the way to the East Coast just to hang out with her today. I made plans earlier this week to go see her in October. She's my cohort, man. When I go and visit her, we hop in the car, we hop in her car, and we just drive all over the country. The only thing we ain't doing is listening to Ozzy, because she don't dig it, But we are out there getting into trouble. Getting into trouble. That woman, she's ornery, boy. So I see where I get it from, I was wild. Life was pretty rough over there in Maryland as a kid growing up. And then 1993, we moved out here to Missouri. And I remember first day going into school after being severely road sick over and over. It's completely flat over there. And now I'm riding the hills of Missouri. I remember going into Arkansas. Those hills were killing me. I'd already been on the road for 18 hours, 2 days. Never done anything like that in my life. Saving grace was the Boot Hills. When we hit that flat ground, I thought, thank God, I'm going to survive. I'm going to survive this trip. But I had the worst freaking case of road sickness. And anyway, my first day going into school over here, I left this area heavily populated over there. Like, I don't know, 600 to 1,000 kids in one grade, to this little school in Koshkonong, Missouri, about 2.5 hours east of here. I walk in there. There's 16 other kids in my grade. And I remember asking my mom after my first day of school, I said, did we move to an Amish town? Are we Amish now? I had no idea that this is what we were going to do. And so, but it was a good thing, because I went from being what I felt like an outcast and turned down to this new kid from a new state, come all the way over here to Missouri. I'm the popular kid. And I'm still running wild. Rampant. So now that I've got some friends, I'm recruiting people. Come on, let's go have fun. Yeah, I can show you how to have some fun. Oh yeah, I skipped my arsonery career that lasted for 1 day. 1 day, blew myself up, first time. Burning stuff in a neighbor's garage, and I remember I had to be helicoptered to a burn center for kids in Baltimore, Maryland, and that was a rude awakening. So I cut that out pretty quick. But here I am in Missouri now, and I'm going to try to skip forward to really my first drink, which was actually my senior year of high school, because I was always looking for acceptance. So I was involved in everything that I possibly could be in school. Basketball, sports, FBLA, anything to just be doing something. Senior year comes around, I get introduced to my friend's father's Jose Cuervo Gold. Fifth, right? Me and two young teenagers, never drank before. I don't know if they drank, but I never drank before. Needless to say, I was pissing on my friends before the night was out. We were having a great time. I was having a great time. I think they were having a great time because they must have been so drunk they didn't even realize I was pissing on them. We were letting it fly. I don't know why, but I've heard somebody in this room say before. But I do remember the effects it had on me in that moment. Something inside of me, it was like turning that doorknob for me when that first time I drank. And I felt like I don't have to worry about nothing. I feel great. I'm big, nothing any of these people can say or do will bother me. Yes, this is probably October 1999. I didn't drink again though, because the next day I paid the price, and I'm like, never doing that again. Graduation night 2000. It's time to celebrate. Yeah. And I've skipped a lot of crap that I caused, a lot of problems I caused for people all the way through my high school years, my teachers, my principals. And like I said, no authority was going to tell me what to do. principals, he got so tired of me, he would just be like, just sit down. I got sent to the office so many times, he wouldn't even talk to me no more. He'd be like, just sit down on the chair. I got paddled a few times. They don't do that in Maryland anymore, but I still got paddled. They do in Amish schools, apparently. Just lit you up. Graduation night. Yeah. This is when it starts for me. Out there partying in a trailer. All the kids from school in a trailer. And getting drunk. Started smoking weed. And that was probably the beginning of a 10-year spree. Right there. Because once I started that night, and I didn't have the structure of school really anymore. I wasn't a planner because I didn't have parents going, why aren't you going to go to college? Right? So I graduated high school. I did it. I'm in the big world now. I can do whatever I want. I have no understanding of money, no understanding of direction, all this stuff. I'm just, here we go. But I'm drinking and I'm using drugs. And that's where it starts for me. About a year in, I'm like, you know what, my friends, we wanted to score something to use, okay? And we were drinking. We wanted to score some stuff. And so I'm like, I ain't stealing nothing, no, okay? Because I just ain't going to do it, but I'll help you. I'll drive you over there, you steal the stuff. Get in the car, we'll go trade it for some whatever. Yeah? So that's what we do. Next morning, the police are knocking on my door. Somehow, they showed up at the house that we traded the stuff for, and the name of the company that got robbed is all right there on all the products. Da-de-da. Okay, so I got a felony charge I'm looking at in Missouri. First time offender. And they're like, well, we can put you on probation for 3 years, okay? All right, well, I'm thinking to myself, I need to get out of here. I can't do it here. I'm going to stay in trouble here in Missouri. And so I go back to Maryland. I go back to Delaware. And I'm trying to ride out this probation charge. I had to do 3 years. And got this probation officer I got to meet every month. They want somebody to stay clean. I can't drink. I can't. Yeah, right. You know, I'm already learning to manipulate. I've learned how to manipulate a long time ago. I'm going to drink. Can't stop me from drinking. Because I know that whenever I got to go see the probation officer, right, if I stop drinking 24 hours ahead of time, I can pee clean. All the other stuff. Didn't really stop me. So, but I did happen to run into some friends of mine. Real close friends. Hard quote. You know, like, that I knew when I was a kid. And so I'm drinking with them, and I'm trying to ride out this probation, and we're smoking, you know, a little marijuana here and there. And I have to tell you this because it all leads up to how my progressive, you know, and alcohol started. And we're smoking weed one day, and one of my friends throws a crack rock on top of the weed pipe. Introduction to crack cocaine. Instantly hooked on it. Yep, instantly hooked. Oh, I forgot to mention one important factor. My father passed away, I told you about, whenever I was a kid. Well, guess what? Joseph got an inheritance check from him passing. Here's $66,000. Guess what I did with it? Not all that, okay? I went and got a brand new car. First. And then, yes, some crack cocaine was involved, okay? But I had the money, and I was partying, and so everybody else around me that I knew was partying too. I wanted to make sure everybody was having fun. Part of me growing up in high school and all that stuff, I was this guy because of the way that I felt like I wasn't accepted and the way that I felt like I couldn't be protected myself. I always felt like I was trying to help my friend. I befriended the little man or woman. I was their friend, and I would protect them whenever it was needed. So that kind of I've always carried that, you know, when needed. And so they said hi with me. Well, I would go out all night long and just freaking get completely trashed. Not drunk, I'm saying hi. Okay? And in order to level out, whenever I ran out, I would have to drink. Now, this process continued for about 1.5 years, okay? Now, somewhere through the beginning of this process, I'm dating this girl, right? Somehow I'd already blown all the money. Somehow, okay? I may have had 3 new cars. I may have used a lot of drugs and stuff. I mean, at a sweatshop, I had people rolling blunts and we were selling them out of the trailer park. Everybody was happy. At least I thought we were. We were all having a great time. And so anyway, I'm on probation. I talked to this girl I said, how much money you got? She goes, $20. I said, why don't we go score some dope? Right? Let's go get some crack. I know where to get some. I have to tell you this, okay? It's part of my story. And so we go to the place. $20 don't get you much in this area, okay? $20 gets you very little in this realm, but it doesn't matter. I know how my mind works, and when I'm obsessing over something and I want it, it's time to go get it. Nothing's going to stop me. So we get it. It's only like 5 minutes down the road. I am so anxious to get high that I can't even make it back to the house. I'm like, pull over here. Give me that can. Smoke a cigarette. I need ash, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not going to tell you how I did it all, but we're sitting there. All of a sudden, I'm about to load it up. 2 Delaware State Troopers pull up. Navy blue, yellow cars. I'm like, shit. I'm on probation. They get out. He's walking over to the car. I'm in the passenger seat. And I'm sitting up there looking at him. He starts tapping on the window, and I'm like, well, screw it. Right in front. Light it up, baby. I'm going to jail anyway. I'm going to jail high for 5 minutes. I'll be high for 5 minutes before I go to jail. Yeah. Then I rolled down the window and I blew it out in his face. Because I told you how I felt about authority, okay? Yeah. Sir, get out of the car. This lady's going to have to get out of the car. He puts me in the back seat. I won't. Puts me in the back seat. And they're making me watch them have a conversation with her out in front of the patrol car. And they're like over here scraping the can, doing their little testing and stuff like that. And he walks up to her, I can hear him. And he goes, okay, ma'am, where's the weed at? And I'm like, oh, thank God. Cop thinks it's weed, okay? Went to a misdemeanor. It ain't a felony no more. She goes, it wasn't weed, it was crack. I was like, no! Went to jail that night, sat there for a little bit, got picked up. I never saw her again. Broke up with her. I was like, can't do it no more. But since I was on probation already, my probation officer in the court system are like, well, now you got to, okay, you have to go to this drug court. So I drove through this drug court, and I'm sorry, I'm really not trying to make it sound like it was a lot of fun, because it wasn't. It was hell. But I had to go to this drug court, and it took 3 months. It was supposed to take me 3 months to go through. It took me 13 months to do it, because I kept failing drug tests. I couldn't get off of this stuff. I come back to Missouri. I'm going to try to skip forward quickly here. Come back to Missouri, because why? I had this idea that if I leave this state and come back over here, I made it through probation. If I come back here, then I can escape this stuff. I can start new. I won't do it again. Wrong. Doesn't take me long to find the stuff again. And drinking, okay? This was my idea. I'm not going to do any of the hard stuff anymore. I'm just going to drink. Why? Because it's legal. Now at this point, I wanted to drink all the time. Right? This is back in 2003 or 4. I'd escalated. It progressed that much where I wanted to be drunk all the time. And I enjoyed it. And then that would lead to other things, of course. 2008, after all this, I have gone to this phase in my life where I'm blacking out all the time. I'm living in a trailer with my friends that doesn't have electricity, doesn't have plumbing. The only reason I'm living there is because I know the alcohol will be there. What? It was Mike's. Yes, it was Mike's. I'm staying in this house because I know that people come there to party. They're going to bring the booze. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. I have nothing. I've lost everything because of my choices that I've made in my life. But I'm blacking out every time I drink. I'm waking up every day, and I'm terrified to wake up because I'm waiting for people to walk up to me and go, do you remember what you did last night? and I'd be absolutely ashamed, hungover, anxiety. I get terrible anxiety. That's what my hangovers are. Absolutely horrible anxiety. And something inside me started changing. My friend's mom, out of the blue, goes, "Do you want to fast?" I go, "What? Fast? You know what? But I'm so miserable in my life at this point already. I'll try anything. Okay, I won't eat for 3 days with you. We're not eating much anyway. This ain't that big a deal. I'll do it." I ended up doing that, though, and on the third day, she's like, "You want to go to church with me?" I'm like, "I'm willing to try anything," okay? Back then, let's go to church. So we go to church. It's a biker as a pastor. I'm like, well, this is not anything I've ever seen before. Now, I went to church with my grandparents growing up. It didn't work for me because I was bored out of my mind, one. And two, I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think it applied to me. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on here. They want me to ask for forgiveness every single time I mess up. And I'm messing up all the time. Personally, I don't even care. And I don't want to be praying all the time in return so I can make it into heaven. Right? And then this biker, I was, like I said, I was willing. This is the first time in my life I feel like that I started feeling humility and being humbled a little bit. And the pastor afterwards, I didn't want to leave for some reason. After everybody left, I didn't want to leave. And I went and talked to that guy. And he said, "Can I pray for you?" And I said, "Yeah." And so we went up to the front of the church. And I got down on my knees for the first time, really, I feel like. And for some reason, I put my hands up in the air, and it was like my first act of humility in my life. You know? And I felt something come inside of me that lasted for 3 days, that I didn't have any stress, I didn't have any anxiety, nothing. All of it was gone. Shortly thereafter that. But I rolled with that for 3 days. Did I stop? No. After my 3 days, I didn't stop. Okay. I went to rehab in 2008, and the reason I went to rehab is because I woke up from a blackout moment. I was staying with my sister and her husband, and I have 2 nieces, okay, who are like 4 and 6. The night before, she goes, "Do you remember what you said in front of them?" "No." "When we went to the Chinese buffet place." I said, "No, don't remember any of it." She said, "You said Uncle Joey wants to shoot himself in the head in front of him." And something clicked to me then. Because I remember being a kid thinking I needed protection in my life. I wanted that stuff, and I never wanted to be like my mother or my fathers or any of those people. And now I'm this person in these kids' life. I've become this person. So I went to rehab. That brought me over here. Through the rehab, I ended up coming over here through a ministry. And I started trying to get sober in my life back in 2008. I got involved in a ministry back then. And it was helping me. I got clean. I stayed sober for 8 months. I thought I had it figured out. So I left. I was back in there 4 months later. Didn't have it figured out. And I spent 10 years with them. I was with them for 10 years. I met my ex-wife. And we were together. It was great. I was living for God and helping people. I've helped a lot of people, large and small. It didn't matter. I was available. Well, fast forward again. Decided on my own judgment that I've been sober now for about 8 or 9 years. I got it all figured out. I can start drinking again. Because the reason I drank before was because I was depressed. I didn't have anything. Now I got a house. I got 2 cars. We got the 3 dogs and cats and everything else. I got a job and so on and so forth. So I start drinking again. Fast forward 1.5 years later, after COVID, I'm divorced. And I'm moving into Branson. I'm living in the Four Seasons up in Branson. We both couldn't do it. And so I spent the last 2 years, 2.5 years before AA, in the motel rooms, drinking, leading to other things, running into patrol cars with my car while I'm drunk, not going to jail for some reason. I say for some reason. Trashed. I just cannot stop drinking. I keep putting the bottle to my mouth, no matter what it's doing to me at this point. And I can't figure out how to stop. I cannot figure out how to stop drinking. It's ridiculous, Everything inside of me. I could make it a month. And then I'd be driving down the road one day and I'd go, I'm going to stop in there and get a drink. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, not working for me. So It broke me. It had broken me. Defeated. Absolutely defeated. Blacking out. Binge drinking for 3 or 4 days straight. Wake up, drink, drunk, blackout. Wake up, drink, drunk, blackout. 3 or 4 days in a row. Now, try to recover from that. It's hell. I don't want to. Because I don't want to feel that. I want to keep drinking. I was losing everything. Everything was falling apart. My life was falling apart. I never really had control of it anyway. Not while I'm drinking. It's impossible. You know, it progressed to that point to where it was absolutely killing me, and I was still doing it. Couldn't stop. And so, I left. Went, tried to go get some recovery somewhere else down in Arkansas. I was there for 5 days. Wasn't working out. Came back on the way back over. I was in the car, and I'm absolutely terrified because I'm coming back to Branson, to my apartment, and I know I can't stop. And it's going to kill me. I can't stop. So I'm crying and I'm screaming to God in the car as I'm driving all the way back from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Help me. Listening to some hard Christian music. It's hard, but it's Christian. Okay? I'm rocking. And so I just, whatever. Anyway, did they ever cross my mind? No. Never. Never. In my 42 years, my 41 years at that point, had never crossed my mind. Right? But something, when I got here to this apartment, said AA to me. AA. I didn't even heard about it. And so, or at least I don't remember ever hearing about it. Might have drank that memory away, I don't know. But I heard it. And I get on my phone, Google it, closest AA meeting, 5 minutes away. Guess where it's at? Right here. May 23rd. Walk through the door. I crawled through the door in this room over here. And that's how I felt. Defeated, convinced. I am powerless over this alcohol stuff, this alcohol business. I am absolutely powerless. And I sat through 2 or 3 meetings, and I don't remember what anybody was saying because I was so twisted. I was just here. And that's what it took. And then at one of the meetings, I started hearing some things. Okay, wait a minute. I started hearing some things. They were relating to me. Gerard was it was a Sunday because he was chairing. And he's sitting next to Slow Will. And they start going over, I just remember hearing some things coming from them that were relating to me. And then this gentleman goes, after the meeting, his name's Grant. After the meeting, I'm sitting at the picnic table because I don't want to go home. I want to hang out here with y'all all the time. And he walks up to me and goes, "How you doing?" So I'm doing fine, I guess. Not really. I can't stop drinking. I need help. And he asked me a question. He says, turn to page, and I still don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't remember all the pages in these books. Don't know if I ever will be. Page, here we go. This is my 41-year-old self coming out. 58. He goes, what's the second sentence say in that page on how it works? And it says, he goes, you want to know what kind of people or who can't stay sober? I said, yes, I do. And it says, those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. First thing I really remember hearing when I came through these doors. And I thought, I'm giving it all. I'm giving it everything. Completely. My way does not work. Does not work, never has worked. My way of thinking. And these are all things that I'm sharing with you now because I've heard these things and I've read these things. The maladjusted mind. You know? And then I had another friend say, here, read this for 3 weeks, more about alcoholism. The stuff starts clicking for me. Most of us have been unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics. The first time I read that, I go, well, yeah. I told you the story before, or some people in here have heard me tell the story to where I go, after I started coming to AA, and the first time I said, my name's Joseph, I'm an alcoholic, I called my grandmother and I go, I'm an alcoholic. She goes, I know. We all know. Every one of us knows you're an alcoholic, except for you. Okay. Yeah, thank you. We've been telling you for years. No, you haven't. Well, yes, we have. Okay. But then that's the part where it starts talking about like all the different ways we try to control alcohol and drinking, and I start reading that and I'm going, holy crap. I've done all this stuff. Not only am I saying I'm an alcoholic now, and am I completely giving myself to this program, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, the pages in this book are me. I'm literally living the pages on this book, and it's speaking to my heart. God is using the pages of this book to speak to me. And I go, dang, I can't believe it. You know? And then I started looking around the room and I go, wow, and every one of these people in this room, a lot of these people in this room are having success. I'm here in 43 years. I'm here in 5 years. I'm here in 7. What are they doing? What are they doing? 41 years. Oh, get a sponsor. Okay. I'm going to get a sponsor. Work the steps. Okay. Why? Why am I've surrendered. I'm surrendering every single day. I am re-surrendering every single day to the idea that it will kill me if I go back out there. And this process has begun to change in me something that I never thought would be. The understanding that this book and the connection with my higher power, my God, it's like all the pieces are starting to come together in my life. It was always missing. Just the understanding of the alcoholic mind. And that's step 1 where it says we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Yeah, that was pretty straightforward stuff for me. I crawled through the door. Came in here on my knees. Work the steps, get a sponsor. Okay, I'll do that. Darn right I'll do that. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Still on my knees. That first step was probably the most humble I've ever been the only time I've ever been humble in my entire life, when I walked through that door. But I work towards it every single day, trying to lean on my higher power and my God to help me through my days. Made the decision to turn. Now, mind you, Gerard's helping me with all these things. I'm not trying to do this all on my own. I'm not trying to work all this out on my own. Why? Because somewhere in the book it says I have a maladjusted brain. And I said, yes, I do. I didn't argue with it. All this stuff relates to me. It must be true. There's truth to it. I need to apply this stuff to my life. We walk through the steps, and we start going through these steps together. And slowly but surely I start seeing a new change in my life. I start seeing some results. I start seeing the promises that we read in the room start taking place in my life. Step 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Guess where I'm at again? I'm on my knees, praying. I have to humble myself. I'm giving it over to God. I'm giving it over to Christ. I'm saying, take this. Run with it. Let's go. Work this program. Let's go. Right? It wasn't until step 4 that I started getting a little, I don't want to talk about my past and resentments. I don't want to take my inventory because then I got to rehash all this stuff. And then, what's funny about it is that God has a tendency to send the right people in your life when you need them. Me and Mike are both trying to do step 4 at the same time. And I've got this man in our lives that I love and miss dearly, George, who is like the instigator in the ring. Who's going to get step 4 done first? You or him? Who's going to get done first? Yeah. So I got people like that in my life, man, that come in this room. There's teachers in this room. It's amazing to me how it's like that people that drink, we can control and manage and we're really well, totally Joe paraphrase, adapted, and we can handle things and like manage whatever the monies and all that stuff in our life, but we couldn't manage alcohol. So, but again, the people in these rooms, I started seeing teachers and listening to teachers. I started seeing encouragers and listening to the people that were encouraging, that were there, that were taking it serious. And I wanted to be around these people, surrounded by them. And so I got George over here, who is really good at humbling me and making me remember that I'm an idiot without God in this program. And I started building a relationship with him, and like I said, a lot of other people in this room. And in some way or another, some form or another, the inventory, okay. So I have to humble myself again. I'm down on my knees again, asking God to help me with this, because I don't want to relive it. But I need to do it. Why? Because of the resentments. I learn to understand through this program that resentments are the number one, killer of an alcoholic. And I need to get this stuff out. But I don't want to deal with it, so God help me with this. I'm on my knees. Step 5, admit it to God, to ourselves, another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. In order for me to talk to God a lot of the times, if I need to, especially in this case, I'm humbled by Him. I'm on my knees, trying to talk to Him about these things. Usually, okay, I don't know about any of y'all, but for me, I have to go through some hell a little bit and be stressed out or anxiety or filled with all this stuff in order for me to really start talking to God. Okay? Remind me, please, what I'm doing here. Or He speaks to me through people, places, or things, and situations and whatnot. So, I'm admitting to my sponsor. I'm talking about these things, man. And he points out to me it's about the nature of this. There's a nature involved with all this. And again, I'm on my knees. I'm like, help me with this in this area. He reminds me all the time, I lack the power to do any of this. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Thank you, God, please. And now I'm starting to realize that alcohol is just a symptom. Alcohol is really just the surface for me. I got all these character defects going on. Step 4 showed me these things. Hold on. I skipped something way back in the day, towards the end of my marriage. On my count, there was this, I tried to do counseling, because my ex-wife was like, you need to go to counseling. This ain't working. Okay, so I go do some counseling. I remember one night he's like, name 3 things you're really good at. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Name 3 things you're really bad at. I don't know any. I don't have any problems. I'm literally sitting there stuck. Okay, I can't think of nothing. I got everything under control in my life. Wrong. Step 4, baby. Let me show you. It ain't about everybody else. It's about the other. It's like I've been pointing a finger. I've been living in fear and all these things so long, and this program starts revealing these things to me. Stop looking at everybody else. Once you start looking at yourself for a moment, see where you're going to be held, where you're held responsible, and everything. How to take a daily inventory for my life. At the end of the day, all the time, I constantly am doing it. I can tell that same counselor today, if he asks me 3 things that are wrong with me, right off the bat, I got 7 for sure. That's 5, but I got 7. Like I'm saying, I got all kinds of stuff that I'm working on. But the difference is like I'm aware of them today. This program is making that known to me today, and it's giving me solutions through these and people to call to help me through these things. Sometimes I can't spring my own trap. Believe me, I was calling somebody last night. Right, Jody? 11:57. Midnight. Guess what it was about? Fear. Guess what it was about? Getting up here and speaking. Been dealing with it on and off since Benji asked me. I hate him and I love him for it. That's the truth, but you know what I mean? It's like, I already had my mind made up. When he asked me, I'm not doing it. Nope. I already had my mind made up. He's going to talk me into it. And I already had my mind made up. I'm going to agree to do it at the end. And I'm going to go through a month and I'm going to freaking hate the whole time. Why? Because I'm still selfish and self-centered. I want to make things about me. I want to focus on what's wrong with me and my world and my life. I don't want to trust God and everything. Only in alcohol. Really? I don't do that all the time, but guess what? My brain wants to go back to that. I have to be constantly plugged in. This program is ultimately showing me to stop doing that. Look at where you're being selfish and self-centered all the time. Start sticking your hand out to help people. And I tried doing that, even though I was faking it to make it. I was sticking my hand out there to help some people. Wherever I can get involved. Whatever I can do. I want to help. And praying to God. Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do this? Making opportunities. Not for me, but, so we have stuff to do and like hanging out through the winter months and making plans and, I don't know. I didn't have that before and I love it. I was absolutely alone. Nothing changed in my life out there since I came to AA. I still work at the same place. I still work around the same people. I still live in the same apartment. I see all the same people. But guess what? Through this program again, it's changing me now to the point to where it's like I can deal with being alone in my apartment, same apartment. I go to work. I'm not drinking. I'm around the same people. It's changing me here. And everything else can do whatever it wants to do. I don't have to be control over it. I can let it be what it's going to be. I don't have to stress about the stuff. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I still get caught up, but that's okay. That's why I'm an alcoholic, and that's why I'm working this program. That's why I keep coming back. I have to keep coming back because I know, again, maladjusted. Right? Ultimately, this is what I gained from the whole thing. And I'll stop, and I will end from this. It's the selfish and self-centered part. It's huge. God saying, reach out, help some people. Reach out and help the next person. How do I do that? By sharing my experience, strength, and hope. Working these steps. When I was working these steps, I went and read through each and every one of these steps. And to me, at some point, I had to be humbled. I had to, look towards God and to help me in these situations. Asking for forgiveness in my inventory on a daily basis. And even talking to the newcomer. And it just dawned on me. I was like, wow, so I'm in this position on my knees the whole time, going through this program, like not necessarily physically, but, spiritually and working in that, from that posture and trying to just stay humble and trying to stay, And I go, and I was like, wait a minute. If I'm still in that position, when the newcomer comes through that door, the way that I crawled in through that door, then I'm meeting them right where they're at. We're both down here. And that's something that my sponsor shared with me, and it made me feel better. I told you I had a problem with authority. Well, he said, I'm your sponsor, but guess what? We're going to do this together. We're not going to look at it like that. We're doing this together. And so through thinking about this program for a month, many sleepless nights, trying to get myself out of the way, it was like God was telling me, well, just stay humble and be prepared for the next person coming through the door. Meet them right where they're at. And remember, you're never any better than they are. You only have what you have because of God and because of what this program's offered you. Don't forget that. I still lack the power today. And I'm absolutely grateful for this. For you all, love you guys. Thank you for letting me share tonight. Yep. Yeah. Hey.